My wife's book club destroyed our marriage, and it wasn't even a real book club. I'm writing this at 2:47 a.m. because I can't fucking sleep and my brain won't stop replaying everything. I keep thinking if I write it all down, maybe it'll make sense. Spoiler alert. It doesn't. 3 weeks ago, I thought I had a pretty solid marriage. Not perfect. Whose is? But solid. Me and my wife Sarah have been together for 9 years, married for 6. No kids yet, which honestly now feels like a blessing. We have a dog though. I got the dog. The before times. Sarah's a high school English teacher, and I'm in IT security for a medical supply company. Boring, I know. Our life was boring in the best way. Sunday morning farmers market, trying new restaurants, binging Netflix shows, annoying our friends with our couple Halloween costumes. We were that couple. I proposed at a pumpkin patch, for Christ's sake. About 8 months ago, Sarah mentioned wanting to join a book club. She'd seen it advertised on our neighborhood Facebook group, a women's book club that met every other Thursday evening at various members' houses. I thought it was great. Sarah had been feeling kind of isolated with most of her teacher friends having kids now, and she's always been a huge reader. Like, our house has more books than a small library. I helped her pick out a new bookshelf from IKEA specifically for her book club selections. The first few meetings, she'd come home around 10:30 or 11 p.m., usually a little wine drunk, and tell me about the book they'd discussed and the drama between the members. There was apparently a contentious debate about whether Where the Crawdads Sing was actually good or just popular. There was a woman named Patricia who always brought store-bought cookies but claimed they were homemade. There was a younger woman, maybe mid-20s, who only wanted to read dark academia. Regular book club stuff, from what I understood. I never thought twice about it. Why would I? The thing about discovering your wife is having an affair is that you don't usually discover it in one big moment. It's 1,000 tiny paper cuts that you don't even realize are bleeding until you're standing in a pool of your own blood wondering when the fuck that happened. It started around 4 months ago, maybe early August. Small stuff. Sarah started putting her phone face down on tables, which she'd never done before. She'd had the same iPhone passcode for years, our dog's birthday, but suddenly she changed it. When I asked about it casually, she said something about work requiring more security on personal devices because of student privacy concerns. Made sense. She's terrible at lying, I thought. She started dressing differently, not like, dramatically, but she'd put on makeup for book club when she usually just wore it for work. Started wearing this perfume I'd bought her 2 Christmases ago that had been sitting mostly unused. New underwear showed up, nothing crazy, but like, matching sets from Aerie instead of her usual Target 5-packs. I told myself she was just feeling good about herself. Having a social outlet, maybe approaching mid-30s, was making her want to put in more effort. I was a supportive husband. I was a fucking idiot. The book club meetings started running later. 11 p.m. became 11:30, then midnight, then she came home at 12:45 a.m. one night in early September and I was actually asleep but woke up to her stumbling in, and she said they'd lost track of time, talking about the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo. She seemed drunk, really drunk. I remember helping her get ready for bed and she kept giggling and saying, "I love you, you know that right? You're so good to me." At the time, I just thought she was being a cute drunk. Now I know she was drowning in guilt and overcompensating. The sex changed too. I hate even typing this part out, but it's relevant. We'd always had a healthy sex life, maybe twice a week on average. But starting around that same time, it became less frequent. Once a week, maybe. Then once every 2 weeks. She'd say she was tired from work, from grading papers, from her period, from being wine hungover from book club. And when we did have sex, she was distant, going through the motions. But here's the fucked up part. There were also these random times where she'd initiate out of nowhere with this desperate energy. Like she was trying to prove something. It happened maybe 3 or 4 times. She'd come home from book club, or from the grocery store, or from school, and just be all over me. Aggressive, almost. I thought it was hot at the time. I thought maybe she'd read something in one of her books that turned her on. I'm such a fucking moron. Mid-October is when I started actually getting suspicious instead of just vaguely uneasy. Sarah came home from book club on a Thursday night, October 12th. I remember because it was my buddy Mike's birthday and I'd had some people over earlier that evening. She'd texted me at 10 p.m. that she'd be home by 11:30. Normal. 11:30 came and went. Midnight. 12:30. I texted her at 12:45. Hey babe, you okay? Just checking in. No response. 1:15 a.m. I called. Straight to voicemail. I'm not gonna lie, I started spiraling. Car accident. Drunk driver. Medical emergency. I was this close to calling hospitals when she finally walked in at 1:47 a.m. I know the exact time because I was watching the clock like a psycho. Where the hell have you been? I probably said it more aggressively than I meant to. She looked startled, then guilty, then annoyed. My phone died. We were at Monica's house and she doesn't have an iPhone charger, just Android. I'm sorry, I didn't realize how late it got. I was worried sick. I almost called the police. Jesus, that's a bit dramatic, don't you think? That stung. Sarah's not usually dismissive like that. We don't fight often, but when we do, we're both pretty measured about it. This felt different. She seemed irritated that I'd been worried. She showered immediately when she got home. At 2 a.m., said she felt gross and wine-y, and wanted to rinse off before bed. The next morning, I checked the charger situation in our bedroom. We have a universal charging station that has both iPhone and Android cables because I have a Pixel for work. It's been there for 2 years. Sarah knows this. She's used it hundreds of times. That's when the actual doubt crept in. Over the next 2 weeks, I started paying attention more. Really paying attention. Thursday, October 19th. Sarah's book club night. She left at 7 p.m. in those dark jeans that make her ass look great and a sweater that was definitely more date night than wine with middle-aged women reading Colleen Hoover. She'd straightened her hair. Full makeup. That perfume again. I did something I'm not proud of. After she left, I checked the neighborhood Facebook group. Scrolled back through posts. The book club had been mentioned when Sarah first joined in February, with maybe 3 comments of women saying they'd be interested. But I couldn't find any ongoing posts about meetings, no photos, no great discussion tonight type stuff. Which, okay, maybe they just weren't social media people. But then I searched book club in the group's search bar. Found a post from September 14th. A woman named Jennifer asking if anyone wanted to start a Thursday evening book club since there wasn't one active in the neighborhood anymore. I screenshotted it. My hands were shaking. When Sarah got home that night, 11:45 p.m., phone died. Again, I didn't say anything. Just asked how book club was. Good. We're reading tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow next. I'm excited. I've heard great things. Who's hosting next time? She didn't even hesitate. Patricia's hosting. The one with the fake cookies. I nodded. Went to bed. Lay awake until 4 a.m. trying to convince myself I was being paranoid and insecure and that there was a reasonable explanation. The friend thing. The next day was Friday. I was zombie walking through work when my buddy Jake texted me. Dude, did you and Sarah split? Saw her grabbing coffee with some guy yesterday. Looked pretty cozy. My stomach dropped into my asshole. I called him immediately. What are you talking about? Oh shit, never mind, I probably. Jake, what did you see? He was at the Starbucks on Morrison Street around 2 p.m. Thursday. Sarah gets out of school at 2:45 on Thursdays, early dismissal day. Saw her sitting in the corner with a guy. Youngish, maybe late 20s, beard, flannel shirt. They were leaning close, talking, laughing. She touched his hand at one point. Jake said he was going to go say hi, but something about their energy felt couple-y. So he bailed because he thought maybe they'd separated and I hadn't told anyone. Who the fuck was she with? I don't know, man. I figured you'd know? I didn't know. I spent the entire day Friday distracted and sick to my stomach. Sarah was at school. Normal day for her. She texted me at lunch. Love you. Can't wait for our lazy weekend, smile, red heart. I wanted to throw my phone through a wall. That night, she was completely normal. Made dinner, chicken stir fry, her specialty. We watched the Great British Baking Show. She cuddled up next to me on the couch, fell asleep on my shoulder. I kept staring at her sleeping face thinking, is this person lying to me? Is this person betraying me? Or am I losing my mind? This is where I did something that I'm still not sure how I feel about morally, but fuck it, I'm past caring about being the perfect husband. Sunday morning, October 22nd. Sarah went to the farmer's market like she does most Sundays. I stayed home, said I had a migraine. The second she left, I grabbed her iPad. She barely uses it. It's mostly for recipes and occasionally watching cooking videos on YouTube. But it's signed into the same iCloud account as her phone, which means iMessage syncs across devices. My hands were literally shaking as I opened messages. Most of it was normal. Group chat with her teacher friends. Conversation with her mom about Thanksgiving plans. Messages with me about dinner and grocery lists. But then I saw a contact saved as Book Rex Books. I opened it, and my entire world ended. I'm not going to transcribe the whole thing because honestly I've tortured myself enough reading and rereading those messages. But here's the gist. Book Rex Books was a guy named Tyler, 27 years old. I'd later find his Instagram. More on that in a minute. They'd met in late May at a brewery where Sarah and her teacher friends had gone after school ended for the summer. He was a bartender there. He'd asked for her number. She'd given it to him. The messages from June were flirty but not explicit. Lots of banter, inside jokes, him sending her craft beer recommendations. Sarah doesn't even like craft beer. She drinks white wine. Her responses were engaged but with some boundaries. She mentioned, "my husband," a few times. By July, the messages were more frequent. Daily, he was complaining about his on-again off-again girlfriend being crazy. Sarah was venting about me being distracted by a big project at work. They'd started meeting for coffee. Just as friends, Sarah had texted at one point, "It's nice to talk to someone outside of work and marriage bubbles." August is when it clearly became physical. August 8th, Tyler. Can't stop thinking about Thursday. You're incredible. August 8th, Sarah. I can't believe we did that. I feel terrible. And also I want to do it again. I'm a horrible person. August 10th, Tyler. You're not horrible. You're amazing. He doesn't appreciate you like I do. I had to run to the bathroom and throw up. Actually threw up. Nothing came out except bile because I hadn't eaten breakfast. I kept reading. Every Thursday for the last 4 months, they'd been meeting. Sometimes at his apartment. He has 2 roommates who work evenings, so the place was usually empty. Twice at a hotel. Once, and this fucking killed me, in our car in the parking lot of a park after she'd told me she was going to Target. The most recent messages were from Thursday, October 19th. The night she came home late with a dead phone. Tyler. I'm falling for you. Like, actually falling. This isn't just hooking up anymore. Sarah. I know. I feel the same way. But I don't know what to do. I can't just blow up my whole life. Tyler. What if your whole life needs to blow up? What if this is the universe telling you you're with the wrong person? Sarah. I need time to think. This is all happening so fast. Tyler. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. Red heart. There were also photos. Not nudes, thank God, but pictures of them together. Selfies. Him kissing her cheek. Her in his apartment, clearly having just woken up. One photo of them at a hiking trail I didn't recognize, her wearing a flannel shirt that was obviously his, both of them grinning like idiots. I sat on our bathroom floor for probably an hour, just blank. Numb. I couldn't cry, couldn't think, just stared at the grout between the tiles. Sarah came home around noon with vegetables and fresh bread and called out, "Honey, I'm home. How's your head?" I didn't answer. She found me in the bathroom. "Oh my God, are you okay? Is the migraine that bad?" I held up the iPad. The color drained from her face. Like, I watched it happen in real time. She went ghost white. I can explain. Explain what? Explain Book Rex Books? Explain Tyler? Explain that you've been fucking a 27-year-old bartender for 4 months while I've been sitting at home thinking you're discussing Colleen Hoover with middle-aged women? She started crying. Immediately. Just full breakdown, sinking to the floor, hyperventilating. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It wasn't supposed to happen. It just what? You just tripped and fell on his dick? Repeatedly? For months?" I'd never yelled at her like that before. Never. I'm not a yeller. But something in me snapped. What happened next was probably 3 hours of the most emotionally devastating conversation of my life. I'm going to try to summarize because honestly, a lot of it is a blur. Sarah's version of events, with my commentary. She met Tyler in late May, true. I confirmed this with the messages. He pursued her, but she wasn't interested at first, debatable. The messages showed she was pretty responsive from the start. They started texting as, just friends, true initially, but disingenuous as fuck given where it went. She was feeling disconnected from me because I'd been working long hours on a project, true. I had been working overtime in July, but that's not an excuse to cheat. The first time they hooked up was a mistake that just happened when she went to his apartment to drop off a book she'd recommended. Bullshit. You don't just accidentally fuck someone. She felt terrible afterward and told him it couldn't happen again, true according to messages, but then it happened again anyway. She couldn't help herself and kept going back. At least she's admitting lack of self-control. She never meant to hurt me and still loves me. Then why the fuck did you do it? The gaslighting part was subtle, but it was there. She kept emphasizing how distant I'd been, how she'd tried to talk to me about feeling lonely, how I didn't prioritize our relationship. And here's the mindfuck. Some of that was true. I had been working a lot in July. We had been in a bit of a rut. I probably wasn't as attentive as I could have been. But none of that justifies what she did. None of it. When I pointed this out, when I said, so you're saying this is my fault? She backtracked hard. No, that's not what I'm saying. I take full responsibility. I made the choice. I'm the one who fucked up. But you just spent 20 minutes telling me all the reasons you felt justified in doing it. I wasn't trying to justify it. I was trying to explain. There's no explanation that makes this okay, Sarah. More crying. She asked if we could work through this, and if I'd consider couples counseling. Said she'd end things with Tyler immediately, block him, never see him again. I asked her the question I was most afraid to know the answer to. Are you in love with him? Long pause. Too long. I don't know. I have feelings for him, but it's not real. It's just the excitement of something new. You and I have a life together. A home. A history. Not exactly a ringing endorsement of our marriage. I told her I needed space and that she should stay with her sister for a while. She begged me not to make her leave, said we should talk more, that running away wouldn't solve anything. I told her that if she didn't leave voluntarily, I would. She finally packed a bag. Before she left, she tried to hug me. I physically recoiled. The look on her face when I pulled away will haunt me forever, but I couldn't stomach the thought of her touching me. The aftermath, week 1. That was Sunday, October 22nd. Monday through Wednesday were a blur. I called in sick to work. Didn't eat. My buddy Jake came over Tuesday night with pizza and beer. I told him everything. He was pissed on my behalf, called Sarah a bunch of names I told him not to call her, old habits, defending her even then. Thursday, October 26th, exactly 1 week after the last book club. I did something probably stupid. I found Tyler's Instagram through Sarah's following list. She'd been dumb enough not to hide it. His profile was public. Lots of photos of him at the brewery, hiking, with friends. And yeah, several photos with Sarah that had been posted in the last few months. One from September at a local music festival. Sarah had told me she went with her teacher friends. She was clearly with him. Tagged location and everything. I messaged him. Hey Tyler, I'm Sarah's husband, the one she forgot to mention. Want to grab a coffee and chat? He responded within an hour. Holy shit, man. I don't know what to say. She told me you guys were separated. Separated. I called him. Had to hear it directly. Tyler seemed genuinely shocked. Said Sarah had told him in early August that we were basically divorced and just hadn't made it official yet. That we were sleeping in separate bedrooms, we weren't. That I'd been emotionally checked out for over a year, I hadn't. That we'd both agreed the marriage was over but were waiting until after the holidays to tell our families. What the actual fuck? Dude, I'm so sorry. I would never have. If I'd known she was lying. He sounded young and freaked out. She told me you knew about me. That you'd agreed to see other people while you figured out the divorce. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. But he still fucked my wife, so. I asked him about the girlfriend he'd mentioned in the messages. We broke up in June. Sarah helped me through it, actually. She was a really good friend at first. I'm sure she was. I told him I appreciated his honesty and hung up. Then I screenshot our entire conversation and sent it to Sarah. She called me immediately, hysterical. You contacted him? Why would you do that? Because I wanted to know the truth, Sarah. Turns out you've been lying to both of us. I didn't lie to him. We were having problems. We were in a rut. That's not the same as being separated. You told him we were getting divorced? That I knew about him? I panicked. He was getting serious and I didn't know how to. So your solution was to make up an entire fictional version of our marriage? Silence. Are there others? I asked. Is Tyler the only one? Yes. God, yes. There's no one else. How am I supposed to believe anything you say? She didn't have an answer for that. Here's where this story takes a turn I genuinely didn't see coming. Friday, October 27th. Sarah's sister Melissa called me. She's always been cool. We've had a good relationship, and she's been kind of caught in the middle of this situation since Sarah's been staying with her. I need to tell you something, she said. Sarah's going to kill me, but you deserve to know. Turns out, this wasn't Sarah's first affair. Melissa told me that about 4 years ago, year 2 of our marriage, Sarah had a brief thing with a guy from her grad school program. It lasted maybe 2 months. Melissa only found out because Sarah had a breakdown one night and confessed everything. She'd ended it, felt horrible, and made Melissa swear not to tell anyone, especially not me. I thought it was a one-time mistake, Melissa said. She seemed genuinely destroyed by what she'd done. And afterward, you guys seemed happy, so I convinced myself it was a blip. But now, I think there might be a pattern. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach all over again. Why didn't you tell me then? Because she's my sister, and because I really did think she'd learned her lesson. I'm sorry. I should have. 4 years. I'd been living in a lie for 4 years. I called Sarah immediately. Did you cheat on me 4 years ago? Long silence. Who told you? Answer the fucking question. Yes, I did. It was brief and it ended and I felt terrible. Who was it? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. His name was David. We were in a study group for grad school. It happened over the summer when you were traveling for work a lot. It meant nothing. How long? 2 months. Maybe 3. How did it end? He wanted me to leave you. I said no. I chose you. You chose me? How generous of you, Sarah. After fucking someone else for 3 months, you chose to stay married to me. I hung up, blocked her number, threw my phone across the room. That was a week ago. Since then, I've contacted a divorce attorney. Consultation is Monday. Told my parents. They're devastated but supportive. Told our mutual friend group. Reactions were mixed. Some were shocked. Some said they'd had a feeling something was off, which is cool that no one mentioned it to me. Changed all our shared passwords. Opened my own bank account and moved half of our savings. Started sleeping in the guest room because our bedroom smells like her perfume and makes me nauseous. Sarah has been texting me from a different number. I blocked the first one. The messages have evolved from desperate apologies to anger that I'm not even willing to try, to what I think is genuine grief about losing the marriage. Her most recent text, from last night, I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I destroyed everything. But I need you to know that what we had was real. All of it, every moment. I love you. I've always loved you. I just lost myself somewhere along the way and made horrible, selfish choices. I'll regret this for the rest of my life. I'm so sorry. Part of me, a small, pathetic part, wants to believe her. Wants to believe that people make mistakes, that marriages can survive infidelity, that love is worth fighting for. But the bigger part of me knows that this wasn't a mistake. It was a choice, multiple choices, made over and over and over again. For 4 months with Tyler. For 3 months with David. Probably with others I don't even know about yet. She didn't love me enough to not cheat. She loved me enough to not want to lose me, which is different. So remember how I said there were going to be plot twists? Here's the one I found out literally yesterday, November 2nd, that made me question my entire reality. I was going through our shared photos on Google Photos, masochistic, I know, and I found something weird. A photo from Sarah's phone from July 14th. It was taken at our house. In our bedroom, at 2:34 p.m. on a Tuesday. Sarah's at work until at least 3:30 p.m. on Tuesdays. The photo was clearly taken by accident, mostly just ceiling and the edge of our bed. But in the corner of the frame, you could see 2 people. The image was blurry but clear enough. One was Sarah, the other was a woman. I zoomed in. Definitely a woman. Blonde. Couldn't see her face clearly but could see long hair and what looked like. Fuck. I called Melissa again. The grad school thing. David. Was that his real name? Yes? Are you sure it was a man? Long pause. Oh my God. She told you it was a man? Turns out, David was actually Danielle. Sarah is bisexual. Which I knew, we'd talked about it early in our relationship. She was open about having dated both men and women before me. But apparently her affair 4 years ago was with a woman from her grad program, not a man. She'd specifically lied about that detail when I confronted her. Why? Because she thought I'd be less threatened by a woman? Because she wanted to hide something else? I scrolled through more photos. Found 3 more accidental shots from various times over the past year. Different women in each one. I confronted Sarah via text. I don't trust myself to talk to her on the phone without completely losing my shit. How many people have you cheated on me with? She called. I didn't answer. She texted. Can we please talk in person? I can't do this over text. Answer the question. 3 hours later. More than Tyler and Danielle. I don't know the exact number. I have a problem. I think I need help. Real help. You think? I know I need help. I'm not making excuses. Something is broken in me and I need to fix it. Where I'm at now. It's been 3 weeks since D-Day. That's what they call it in the infidelity forums I've been obsessively reading, Discovery Day. I'm meeting with the divorce attorney on Monday. Sarah wants to do couples counseling. I told her that ship has sailed, but she could benefit from individual therapy to figure out why she's a serial cheater who lies pathologically. She's still staying with Melissa. I'm in our house with our dog. His name is Biscuit, by the way, and he's a golden retriever and literally the only good thing in my life right now. I've lost 12 pounds because I can't eat without feeling nauseous. My work is suffering. I'm averaging maybe 3 to 4 hours of sleep per night. I wake up in a panic at 2 or 3 a.m. replaying conversations, analyzing every moment of our relationship, wondering what was real and what was performance. The worst part isn't even the cheating itself, though that's fucking terrible. The worst part is not being able to trust my own judgment anymore. I thought I knew this person. I thought we were happy. I thought I'd have noticed if something was deeply wrong. But I didn't notice. Or I noticed and explained it away. Or I noticed and was too comfortable to confront it. I keep thinking about the night she came home at 1:47 a.m. and showered immediately. I knew something was off. Why didn't I push harder? Why did I let her gaslight me about the phone charger? I'm also angry at myself for other things. For not being more present during those months I was working overtime. For not initiating date nights more often. For letting us fall into a rut where we were roommates who occasionally had sex instead of partners. But then I remember. Lots of couples go through ruts. Lots of people have demanding jobs. That's not an excuse to cheat. That's not an excuse to lie. That's not an excuse to build an entire secret life while your spouse is at home watching British people bake cakes and thinking everything is fine. The questions I can't answer. Did she ever love me? Like, really love me? Or was I just safe? Stable? The boring husband she came home to after getting her excitement elsewhere? When we had sex, was she thinking about me or someone else? When she said, I love you, before leaving for book club, did she mean it? What was real? What I've learned. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Having a cool, chill spouse who doesn't check up on you isn't always a good thing. Sometimes boundaries and accountability are healthy. Cheating isn't always about a failing marriage. Sometimes people just have broken internal wiring that makes them seek validation from external sources no matter how good their primary relationship is. You can do everything right and still get fucked over. The person you think you know best in the world can be a complete stranger. Book clubs are apparently just code for affairs. I'm kidding. Mostly. Why I'm writing this? I guess I'm writing this because I need to process it. I need to see it all laid out in front of me in words so my brain can start accepting it as real instead of feeling like I'm living in a nightmare I can't wake up from. I'm also writing this because if you're reading this and something feels off in your relationship, if your partner suddenly changes their phone habits or starts dressing differently for book club, or comes home late with bullshit excuses, trust yourself. Don't explain it away. Don't make excuses for them. And if you're the person who's cheating and telling yourself it's fine because your partner doesn't know, because it's not hurting anyone, because you still love them, you're destroying another human being. You're taking someone who trusts you completely and detonating their entire sense of reality. You're breaking something that might never heal. The update, November 3rd, this morning. I wasn't going to add this, but fuck it. This literally happened this morning and I need to tell someone. Tyler contacted me again, said he'd been thinking about everything and went back through his messages with Sarah. Found something he thought I should know. In late September, Sarah told him she was pregnant. She told him it might be his. She was going to figure out what to do and would keep him updated. Then, 2 weeks later, she told him she'd had a miscarriage. I have never, in my entire life, felt rage like what I felt reading those screenshots. Sarah was never pregnant. She's been on continuous birth control for our entire marriage because she has PCOS and terrible periods. I know she wasn't pregnant because we've barely had sex in months, and when we did, we were careful. She made up a possible pregnancy with her affair partner, and then a miscarriage. For what? Sympathy? To manipulate him? To create drama? I forwarded the screenshots to her without comment. She called immediately. I answered this time because I needed to hear her explain this. That wasn't real. I made it up. Yeah, no shit, Sarah. Why? He was pulling away, getting distant. I panicked. So you invented a pregnancy and a miscarriage? I know it was insane. I know. I was spiraling and I didn't know how to. You need serious psychological help. Like, intensive therapy. Maybe inpatient. I know. I don't think you do. I don't think you understand how deeply fucked up that is. I'm so sorry. Stop apologizing. Stop saying you're sorry. Just stop. I hung up. Where I go from here? I'm done. Completely, totally, irrevocably done. The divorce paperwork is being filed this week. I'm asking for the house. My name is on the deed. We're in a state where infidelity doesn't really matter for asset division, but I'm hoping she'll just agree to let me have it. I get to keep Biscuit. She can have the books. I'm starting therapy on Thursday. I blocked Sarah on everything this morning. Her number, social media, email. Told Melissa that any future communication needs to go through lawyers. I'm also planning to tell Sarah's parents what happened. They deserve to know why their daughter's marriage is ending. Sarah asked me not to. Said it would devastate them. But honestly, I'm past protecting her image. Some of my friends think I should try to forgive her. That everyone makes mistakes. That throwing away a 9-year relationship over infidelity is hasty.